startups begin in communities across the country.
Why does Silicon Valley get so much credit? My name is Nick Castor.
And I'm Kaitlyn Clays. We're interviewing the people building startup communities across America.
But in the areas no one is talking about, the middle.
This is the Ecosystem Builder Podcast by mug.news. This is the Ecosystem Builder Podcast. Ecosystem building is the subset of economic development that focuses on fostering entrepreneurial activity within a community. Today's guest is Alejandro Santiago from St. Louis. Alejandro, thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Hello, Kayla. Nice to meet you, and thank you for having me. This is really exciting.
Yes, well, excited to have you. So let's just jump right in. How did you first become involved with your startup community?
Well, I became involved after moving to St. Louis, and in my position here at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I am the membership manager. And so I really became involved in the startup community after joining the chamber. I had a brief introduction while I was in law school, but really the bulk of when I started doing more of this active job was here in St. Louis. And so, it's been exciting. I see this, my involvement in the startup community as a way to really create a more equitable community where, business owner gets to have a better quality of life. Through a business, you get to have ideally more income for you, for your family. You get to have access to better schools, housing, better quality of life. So this is how I see, my participation in this startup community to help business owners to grow and develop.
So then what are some ways that you help support your community? What are some of the things that you do to help?
Well, I kind of do a lot. So one of them is help the business owner to start their business. So we do it since the beginning to register their company with the state, with the IRS, and just basic steps to become a business. We also help them with their marketing, how to make connections with networking events, with access to funds, and just really how to navigate the ecosystem of entrepreneurship. So that's something that we do. But then also with advocacy. So for example, with the census, we were doing a lot of stuff so that our community was counted and that the funds that were later going to be distributed in our communities were accurate with the count of people. So, advocacy for the census, but then also with voting, and then now with vaccine access. So I'm also part of some boards here in the region that do a lot of things for different types of communities, not only the business community, but then also, for example, I'm part of the board of Food Outreach, an organization that provides food to individuals that are immunocompromised, that have cancer, HIV, or AIDS. And so I'm part of that board too. So, there are a number of ways where I'm helping the community, but really the mission is to exactly just do that. I help the community improve St. Louis, so that it's a better region for everybody.
Well, and definitely it comes, I'm thinking of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so starting at the base, which making sure people are fed, have the right health care, making sure they're healthy and safe is another way to help then climb the bridge of having a good entrepreneur and healthy ecosystem as well, having people taking care of themselves. And another thing that stood out to me too is helping out with those early stages, registering IRS. Have you found that people have a more a weight lifted off their shoulders? Because I think that beginning stages can be very intimidating.
It is very intimidating. And so one aspect of this is that here at the Chamber, we help everybody. And so because we're the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, there are a number of immigrants that come our way and say, hey, I want to start a business, but I don't know how. It's very different system in the US and in any of the other countries. So really, even chambers like us are not a system in other countries. So, getting used to organizations like chambers, nonprofits, or the SBA, organizations that help entrepreneurs, are not necessarily something that some demographics are used to. So really help them understanding and creating that trust is gonna be really important in how we help these entrepreneurs. That's something that we do. This is something that we help individuals in every step, in any step that they're in.
So why is St. Louis like a great city to start your business?
Oh my God. Well, it has so many things. One important, I think, is the cost of living. So St. Louis is a big city, big amenities, but it's very affordable. So one is that there are a lot of organizations like the Chamber, but then also other organizations that help you in developing your organization, your business in any stage that you're in. So there are a lot of organizations that are able to help you. But then also, if you're starting, most entrepreneurs don't have, the tons of amounts of money to live life. So the cost of living here is really great. For example, we have a zoo, which is free. We have museums that are free. We have big parks that are free. The gas is like $3. Housing is really affordable. So you can buy a house actually. And it's something that you can do. And so really starting to create your life and creating your business is something that is tangible here in the region. So I think that's why St. Louis is a great city to move into and grow, whether it is your career as a professional or as a business owner, if you have an idea that you want to, have.
Also, to hype up St. Louis, I love the St. Louis City Museum so much. Have you?
It is amazing.
Oh my gosh! So
it's so fun.
It is so fun. Basically, if you've never been to St. Louis, the St. Louis City Museum is kind of, I don't know, even climbing about. How else would you describe it? There's so many things
like a child playground for adults,
yes.
And with beer and alcohol. Mm-hmm. So it's so fun.
It's so much fun. And then there was like an outdoor one too, where it's like you can go over these bridges. You won't bump your head. Yes. Like, tall people even won't bump their head. Like, seriously.
It is fun. It is so much fun. And there are so many things that you can do here for fun. We have a big Ferris wheel. We have an aquarium. There's, as I said, big nature stuff. So there's hiking. We have a park that's called Lone Elk Park. We have elks and bison. So walking around and you're just driving in your car and there they are. So, it's a really great city to live. And as I said, to grow as whatever you're looking to do in your journey of life.
And I guess I remember just one last thing is that there's a restaurant, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it has all these different flavors of ranch. So if you're a true Midwesterner at heart, it's just there's all of these different types of ranch. And I think just look up Ranch Restaurant St. Louis, and I think it'll come up.
I'm going to look it up because I am trying to become this full Midwestern that you're saying. So that's something that I need to start working on.
I 10 out of 10 would recommend. So yay, we're both learning about St. Louis, learning something new. Yes. So my next question is kind of relating to finances, loans. So if someone were starting a business in your community, are there any local grants or interest-free loans they can look for?
So there are a lot of organizations that can help you with funding. So it really depends on what type of funding you're looking for. Some organizations may be asking for some requirements, but it's always great to connect with us in the ecosystem so that we can help you navigate what is it really that you're looking for. So for example, I volunteer for an organization. It's called the Balsa Foundation, and we have grants for first-time entrepreneurs. And so we give them $1,000 that they can use in a 10-week learning program where we teach them about entrepreneurship. And how to manage your business. So it's 10 weeks of classes and those $1,000. And so after that, we have we keep helping them in whatever they need, connections, stuff like that. So there's options like that, but then also we have local banks that are helping entrepreneurs with low rates. So there's a lot of help. It just really depends on where you are in your stage, and that way, you can always contact someone in the ecosystem, and we will refer you to where you're looking at.
What really stands out and that I really appreciate learning about is that like Balsa not only has like that offer of financial offer, but in addition to that is those classes on how to use it properly. A lot of times with people are starting businesses, it might be their first time or they're not exactly sure how to start. So I think think having that guidance and direction is a great way to start and strengthen their community.
Yeah. And so one big part of this is the connections that you're going to be making. It's really important to understand that it's going to be really hard if you're just trying to do it by yourself. It's going to be so much easier if you are part of a community that is navigating the same things as you are, that can help you connect with resources, not only funding, but ideas. You don't have to start anything necessarily from scratch. If something else has been built and somebody else has done it, you can tap into their knowledge. You can tap into their leadership and say, hey, how did you manage to move your business online in the pandemic? I've been struggling, but would you mind letting me know how that worked? And so that's how things happen, really connecting with others, creating these connections that will be able to help you in your business. So that's really something important to take consideration as you are navigating your entrepreneur life.
Wow. So then what advice do you have for someone when they are just starting their business, other than, of course, going to the chamber, talking to everyone? What is more advice that you'd give to someone who's just starting out?
Something that I've seen is entrepreneurs are very focused in their day-to-day tasks. And sometimes, time is very limited. Time is very precious. But making the effort to really go out there and see what others are doing is going to be really important. So, for example, there are a lot of networking events happening in St. Louis. We at the Chamber, we have one every month, but there are other organizations that also held networking events. There are times networking is really, terrifying for a lot of people. It's literally talking to a stranger, and it's not easy, but it's very rewarding once you do it. So that way you're going to find partnerships. You're going to make business potentially. You're going to find someone that you can collaborate with. So that's something that I would suggest to a new entrepreneur. Connect with your local resources. I bet that anywhere you are, there's going to be a chamber. There's going to be a nonprofit. There's going to be a resource from your city or your county that you are in that will have resources for your small business. And even the Small Business Administration, if you go to their website, they're going to have a lot of toolkits to help you in anything from loans to marketing to they have materials, for example, for if you have a restaurant and you don't have any signs for any COVID or any mask stuff, you can download it from there, make it your own, and then you have a flyer for yourself. So, just be aware that there are going to be a lot of resources locally that you can tap into that are free and that are there for you.
So then talking about like that networking aspect of things, I wanted to ask you, what advice then do you have people who are kind of struggling with that confidence or a little bit nervous? I know I've had this conversation with young people who are breaking into the industry where they're like, all of these people are like 15 plus years older than me. How am I supposed to have the confidence to talk with them? Do you have any advice in that regard?
Yeah, so this is something that I really like to do because, as you're a young individual, navigating anywhere you are, having someone that can teach you how they did it is going to be important. So try to find a mentor, try to find someone that has been there, that can give you some words of encouragement. And if you don't have one, one way to do it is to just Google events around your local area. Try to find affinity groups that are going to have people that are in your similar interests. So, for example, here at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, have a lot of individuals that are foreign-born, that are Hispanic, that are of different demographics, because they feel safe going into our networking events. And so something to take in mind is that in networking events, everybody's there for the same purpose, which is connecting and talk to people. So if you go and approach someone and you start talking to them, it's going to be totally fine. It's not going to be weird because they are in the same mindset of connecting with others. That being said, there may be people that you really don't connect with, then go to the next one. And that next one may be a good connection. But, always be yourself. Always just bring your true self to any place that you go to. And I think that you will be fine.
That is some very good advice. And another thing that comes to mind is just being persistent. And that's one of the qualities in entrepreneurship, is that you won't always succeed at every task you do, but to know that there's always an opportunity for the next one. So thank you for that advice. I know that a lot of people struggle with that in the very early stages of their business as well.
And if it doesn't work, it's not always a negative. You will always be learning from anything that you do, even if it's for example, a job interview that didn't go well. They didn't hire you, but you have that experience of a job interview. So now next time, oh, I got asked this question. I'm going to rehearse more this question because this is something that I got asked. So you will learn from everything that you do. That's all to take in consideration as well.
So then going off the line of, being social, networking, are there any coffee shops that you'd recommend that entrepreneurs hang out in? Another way to socialize?
Yeah. So for example, there is one called Ventura Cafe. That is especially for entrepreneurs. So this cafe has conversations and webinars and programming for entrepreneurs to connect with local entrepreneurs, but then also for state, national, and internationally. So this is a great source for you to go connect. But then there's also, these co-working spaces that are here in the region where you can go and chat more with more people. And I can give you some names. One is Rice. There's another called Spark, Nebula, Tech Artista, CIC. And so if you just go ahead and Google, this type of spaces, you will find them. And again, don't be hesitant to reach out. I mean, I think it's really hard just first to ask for help. That's the biggest step, is to just be vulnerable and say, I need assistance in this. And it is perfectly fine. There will be someone that will be helping you. So, connect with this spaces. For example, this Ventura Cafe is going to be a good source for you if you're looking to connect with more entrepreneurs.
Yeah, very good point. Just being able to communicate with people and then sharing a space, that has been definitely the super great. It's been nice with COVID opening up again, and we'll see where things go in the next few months, but for a period of time, it was really appreciated to be able to share open area again, and get to see people face to face. Exactly. So then where can people go to find more events in their startup community?
So I would say one tip that I would give is to subscribe to any organization that helps entrepreneurs and subscribe to their email newsletters. So that's going to be a great tool for you to stay up to date with anything that they're doing. You can find funding opportunities, marketing opportunities, networking opportunities, a lot of different opportunities. So really make sure once you do your research and find organizations that help in entrepreneurial world, subscribe to the email newsletters. That's gonna be one. Example is Ventura Cafe. Cherokee Street Business Association is gonna be another. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is another. We Power, another. Cortex is another. BioSTL, another website that you can check. So all of those, make sure to subscribe and follow up on their social media. That's a great source for information.
With your involvement with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the rest of your community as well, what are some successful or notable startups that come to mind for you?
So one I would say is Cafe Minas. It's a company that sells coffee. And so, it started from the ground, and they are now selling in our local grocery stores. So that's some great stories of someone being able to place their product for in stores. But also something important to take in mind is that success looks different for everybody. So it's gonna be it's very subjective. So we really embrace success in the many different ways that it comes in. And so another would be, for example, there's this restaurant called Asador del Sur, which opened during COVID. So their success is that right now they're still open, and they're really having a great run, even though they opened during the middle of the pandemic, where not a lot of people were able to go into the place. It was mostly takeouts. So they've been having great success. And recently they won a grant by Spectrum for $15,000. And so they're now going to be able to promote their restaurant on TV for free because of this program that was made for Spectrum. That's called Pay It Forward. And so this is another example of how, making these connections is going to be important. For example, Maria, who's the owner of Asado del Sur, she joined the chamber and she started making these connections. With the chamber, we have a connection with Spectrum. Spectrum reached out to us and said, "Hey, we have this program. Tell your members to apply to this opportunity." And so Maria did, and Maria won. And so now she has this $50,000 that she can use to promote her restaurant on TV. And so, this is something that it's really tangible on how joining groups and joining networks is going to really help you in promoting your business, because right now, as things are opening, she really needs this promotion in the region. And so, this is something success stories here in the region.
Speaking of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and all of these startups that have been even just starting in the pandemic, it's so impressive. And what a great underdog story too, with starting in the pandemic and having your everything featured. That is just such a heartwarming story to get to hear. So what are some challenges that entrepreneurs face during their early stages, specifically in the Hispanic community?
I would say it's well, there's a number of barriers that are out there, but one will be access to capital and access to using the banking system. There are many barriers to that, especially for entrepreneurs. One of those would be banking ID requirements, having balance minimums in your card, language access, not understanding when you go into a branch. What can you do? What services they have, and having fewer bank branches in communities of color. So all of those are going to be barriers. And so another point is that 43% of Hispanic households are unbanked or underbanked. So this is really going to impact into the entrepreneurial world. And so another important aspect to this that ties it's that the census issued some data, and it says that Latino business owners grew 34% compared to 1% for all business owners. So really the Latino Hispanic population are the ones driving the entrepreneurial world in the United States. And so if we're not helping our entrepreneurs with banking and access to capital, it's going to be really hard to really continue to push this success of entrepreneurs opening. So I think that imagine not having all of these barriers, the success that it would have, even though right now there are so many barriers, like what I've said. 34% grew in comparison to 1%. But then also this means $500 billion to the economic in annual sales for this Hispanic owned businesses. So really it's in the interest of the United States and in this interest of our country to really help Hispanic businesses to grow and develop. And so Latinos are also going to be 1/3 of the population in the future. So if one big bulk of our population is not thriving, then the country as a whole is not thriving. So we really have to take in consideration these numbers and really help our community to grow. So that's why local banking is also going to be really important. So anywhere you are, check your local banks, what opportunities they have, what type of loans they have. If they have for small businesses, then definitely take in consideration those opportunities.
So then what further impact do immigrant entrepreneurs have in St. Louis? You talked about how in the future it'll be 1/3 of our country. So what are some further impacts in St. Louis specifically?
So specifically in St. Louis, a foreign-born population has 60% more to open a business. So this is so important, because if you are having the foreign-born population coming to you, then that means there are going to be new businesses opening. And so what does that mean? That means economic stimulation for your region. That means more jobs opening. It just means positive things. It just means that your economy is going to be growing. So it's just going to be furthering itself. So right now in the metro area in St. Louis, we have around 7,000 immigrant entrepreneurs. And so we're really working to make this region a welcoming one so that, we're adding as many talent as we can so that we continue to grow our region.
So then continuing with the growth, and you touched on this a little bit earlier of like how to keep up with events. But my next question is, are there any news outlets, podcasts, or blogs that you recommend checking out?
So I would say Café Ventura has a lot of programming like that. It's a lot of what they do is this programming of entrepreneurs and helping with programming about this. Also check out STL Made. STL Made is an organization that really highlights stories of success here in the region by people, ideas, really great ideas here in the region. So definitely check out their page if you wanna get some a nice and positive content. STL Made is a great organization. So, definitely check those out. And also the chamber, we have programming in Spanish and English that we share with the community that you can go to our Facebook and then you can take a look at those videos. We talk to local nonprofits, local entrepreneurs about their businesses, but then also we have a segment when they give you an educational segment about, we want you to gain some experience in the different areas and industries that our members participate in. So, definitely check those out.
Thank you so much for those recommendations. Do you have any final thoughts, any parting wisdom that you have before we close out?
Yeah, I would encourage everyone, entrepreneurs, young professionals, families that are trying to have a better quality of life, to think of St. Louis as a city where they can come and further whatever is it that they're trying to do. Whether you want a better paid job, whether you want more, being more in contact with nature after COVID and being in our homes, I think it really changed our minds of how we want to live our life. So, think of St. Louis as a city where you can achieve your dreams, where you can start your business. And so also think of me as a resource. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn and you want to learn more about jobs available here, or you're looking to just learn more about what St. Louis has to offer, I'm so happy to help you. I want people to come and join this great city. And so, anything you need, I'm happy to help.
Well, thank you so much. And I guess one last question before we head out is that I wanted to know, how can we support you? How can we help the Chamber of Commerce, following you on social medias? How can we help?
Definitely make sure to check out our social media platform and stay up to date with what we do. As I said, if you are in the region, come to our networking events. We really want to help you. We really want to assist you in anything you need. So our networking events are open for everyone. Come and connect with people. If you just moved to St. Louis and you're trying to find friends or a group of people to connect with, come to our networking events. They're open for everybody. They're fun. We provide food and drinks. So you have it's literally just show up and have fun. That's all that we want you to do. So definitely check us out on social media.
Alejandro, thank you so much for all of your insight, perspective, and advice. I've had an amazing time chatting with you, and I'm just really hyped. I really want to come back to St. Louis. I'm just remembering how much fun it was.
Let me know, and we'll go have fun. It's so fun. There are so many things, and the food is amazing. The food is great.
It really is. It seriously is. Well, again, thank you so much, and I will definitely let you know when I come around town.
Awesome. Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Take care.
Now that we've learned about an ecosystem from a person who's building it, I'm going to link back up with Nick to clarify on some jargon and take a deeper dive into this ecosystem.
Hello, Kaitlyn. First, how are you doing this morning?
I am doing great. I've got my cup of coffee and I could not be happier.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that. How was your conversation with Alejandro?
It was so much fun. He has a great energy about him, and it was a lot of smiles, a lot of laughing, and he just had so much great information to share about St. Louis area. So I can't wait to share some of my takeaways.
Yes, I agree. That's just the general vibe. Love it. What were some of those big takeaways?
Yeah. So one thing, he is a huge supporter leader of the DEI community within St. Louis. So one of the things that it was very sincere about was it's very important for ecosystem builders everywhere and community builders everywhere to look at how you're supporting DEI and analyze your strengths and your weaknesses. So strengths, that's great. It's good to see that you're helping your community, but you really need to look at what you need more help on. And one thing that he'd said was just that don't judge yourself too much, or kind of that's what I took away, is that don't judge your community, just build it. Okay. So that was something that I thought was very empowering rather than being upset with your community or something. Let's just focus on how you can improve it.
Yes, yeah, and that's something Tom Chapman mentioned to us 2 episodes ago. Of look at like be honest with yourself on what needs to be improved, because no community is perfect, but it's really easy to be like, oh, we're great at everything, but like, no, you have to be like provide an honest self-assessment. Was there anything you had to look up after?
No, I didn't have to look up anything after, but I suppose to piggyback off that first statement was, just because like he had mentioned another thing. So for example, letting people into the room. We talk about like having a diverse group of people sitting at the table. But one thing that's not always present is the confidence to share your ideas. So it's more than just allowing people to be at the table. It's really important to help people have the platform without being a white savior. That kind of got brought up, is that you don't want to take the limelight for yourself if you're someone that's part of the majority. It's important to create a safe space where people feel comfortable sharing more about their thoughts and their businesses.
Yeah, yes, most definitely. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on? Any other takeaways?
I guess my final thought would be, if you're not the most confident networker or you're a bit more introverted, have no fear. It's okay. You just need to practice a little bit. And networking is so important to the entrepreneurship community. And it was just one of those things that just because you're introverted doesn't mean that you're not good at networking. It just takes a little practice. So I thought that was kind of a, you can do it, like you got this. And so I just wanted to like any listeners who are a little bit introverted or shy, you got this, you right on.
Nice. I love that, Kaitlyn. Very, very good tip.
Yeah, and that's all I have. So if you want to go ahead and read us out.
Perfect. Thank you, Kaitlyn. And thank you for listening to today's episode of the Ecosystem Builder Podcast, which is a product of mug.news and hosted by myself, Nick Kastner. Sorry, I have like the hiccups this morning, and my wonderful co-host, Kaitlyn Clays. If you have any questions about today's episode, shoot Kaitlyn a tweet at Clays Creates. I am on Twitter at Nick Kastner, or hit up the general channel Mug News Official. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and share with your friends. We release episodes every single Wednesday morning, so make sure to follow so you don't miss a beat.
See ya.